Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Is this working? There we go. If you would join me with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time together as free people. We thank you for those that have provided that freedom. Just guide our discussions today to do the people's business. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Good morning, everyone. I want to remind all the council members to please use your microphones as this meeting is being broadcast on YouTube as well. First item is the consent agenda, which is the acceptance of the July 8th, 2025 minutes, the same series transfer report, the cash balance report, as well as the commissary report from the sheriff. Is there any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Any public comment on any upcoming agenda items? Okay, moving on to money matters. Prosecutor, have an additional appropriation? Yeah, there he is. Thought I saw him. Morning.
So our request, we're just moving extra money out of our general fund into special equipment. We help purchase the drones for the local law enforcement. That's what we're needing it for. Should I talk louder?
I don't know. No, it is on.
When you move a little closer. So you're, just to reiterate, you're helping is it for the sheriff's department, police department, both, or for the drones? Both? Okay.
Yeah, 2 drones.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion approved. Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any other questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sherri? Yeah.
Yeah. 6 foot. I can talk loud. Sherri Hill, Montgomery County Central Communications Center, also known as 911. I'm requesting additional appropriation for overtime dollars. A lot of that comes from us having so many new people, and people taking time off over the summer has created the need for that. So we're trying to get through this. We still have 4 in training and 1 opening.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask, if there's still just the 1 opening.
Just 1.
Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
sir.
That's
yes,
progress.
It is good.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussions for Sherri? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And then Health Department.
Good morning, Adrienne Northcutt with the Montgomery County Health Department. Our commissioners, they okayed a contractual agreement with the Montgomery County Free Clinic, and I am asking to use our local health trust, which we don't receive anymore because we now get the HFI funds, but there's some leftover money to help support the Montgomery County Free Clinic. We're over there working, doing immunizations, STI testing. We're helping the nurse practitioner with gynecology supplies, and so that's what this is for.
entertain a motion.
Can you just describe that a little bit more for me, please?
So we have partnered with the Montgomery County Free Clinic. They take care of a lot of people who are uninsured and underinsured. And it's in a good location. It's within walking distance for a lot of those uninsured and underinsured. Plus, one of our key performance indicators for going forward with our Health First Indiana Fund, our funding, is to increase women's health. And so they now have a nurse practitioner there that specializes in women's health. And so our nurse goes over there every Thursday and spends the day there. We are doing immunizations on children, adults, TB testing, STI testing if they need it. And then our nurse is also helping out the nurse practitioner in regards to doing gynecology tests and breast exams and anything regarding women's health, to be quite honest. So this is just to help them survive too. So, and these are funds that the state wants us to use. We're not going to be receiving these anymore because we are getting the HFI funds now, the Health First Indiana funds. So that's what this is for.
So you're contracting for this service, or I'm a little under, what's the money gonna be spent for?
So the money is being spent for, part of the money is being spent on rent for us being there, to do the immunizations and STI testing and TB testing. And then the other part of it is being spent towards supplies, because gynecology is new for the Montgomery County Free Clinic. They don't have a bunch of gynecology supplies yet, so the other part of that is going toward their supplies of what they may need.
So you're like spending overtime money to be at the free clinic?
No, we are not spending
I don't
overtime.
understand the contract service.
Yeah, we're not spending overtime money. Alex is there from 9 to 11, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Thursday morning, helping that nurse
Right, but she's being
practitioner.
paid by your
Yes,
payroll anyway.
exactly, yes.
So what's the contract got to do?
So the contract was just an can you help me out here, Dan? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow.
No, you're fine.
The health department has established a partnership with the Free Clinic. The Free Clinic has agreed to provide some of the same services that you could get at the health department. It's just that some people can't get here. Whereas the Free Clinic is located in a place that is much more convenient. People can walk there, and they may already be going there for some other reason. As part of the accreditation of the health department, they have certain areas where they must spend money, and this is one of them, women's health. And so what they're doing in that partnering is we are using their facility. We're going there to deliver some of our services. But when we're not there, because they have a nurse practitioner now, they're also offering some of the same services we offer, just in a different location. And they've agreed to do that even when we're not there, and that's the partnership that we're really talking about. So.
You're supporting the free health clinic with additional expenses?
Yes.
You're asking them?
Yes,
Okay, I get it.
yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
My apologies, I didn't understand what.
You said, it says additional appropriations, but then you said it was money that's already there? It was a grant, it's money that we have to spend on those certain things?
So,
A grant?
before the HFI, before the Health First Indiana, we received money from the state for local health maintenance and local health trust. Our local health trust still has money in it, but they really want us to get that spent. because we are receiving the Health First Indiana money now, so we won't ever get that local health trust money again.
Right.
So, they want us to spend that money. I have approximately 34,000, so therefore I made this additional appropriation for the 25,000 to help support the Montgomery County Free Clinic.
So you already have the money?
I already have the money,
Okay.
yes.
We're good.
Yeah, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Moving on to some transfers. Sheriff, need 'em?
Good morning. I thought we did this last meeting, but when we were working on our budget for this year, we just noticed that one of our deputies was a year behind on the matrix. This amount would just bring him up to where he should be and correct that issue. And we have money left over in pay lines from recent retirees that
Okay.
can certainly cover that cost.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. And Sherri's back up.
These are transfers, worked with the auditor's office in cleaning some of our lines up that were falling short. We had created 3 part-time dispatcher lines earlier in the year at their recommendation because we were paying them out of a full-time line. 2 of them are now gone. So some of those lines were in the negative. We just needed to get all that cleaned up. Moving money around, basically.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions for Sherri? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right,
Thank you.
Morning, Jake.
Good morning. How are you guys? So this is just the overtime, transferring from vacancies of positions to the overtime due to storms and cleaning up trees and stuff. Hopefully this will get me through the end of the year. Obviously, I can't predict weather, but it should be good enough to get through the end of the year.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions for Jake?
Yeah, just a question. 2 lines, same amount. Is that duplicate or?
No, I just split the, what the salary was, and just split it in half, because those have been vacant all year.
Okay. I'm good.
Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. And we got a few more transfers. Prosecutor, just short on dues and
This is just transferring money from one account to another to make up for a shortfall in the dues and subscriptions.
Move approval.
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any questions for the prosecutor? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian.
Morning. This is transferring money. If you recall, last month, we moved the line item out of the supplemental public defender fund, which was for one deputy position line. State told us we couldn't be paying that regular salary out of the supplemental funds. We moved it to the general fund, and we were paying our intern out of that. And then I was able, since our last meeting, hire a full-time deputy, so knock on wood, first time ever since I've been there in 2018. We have all the spots filled. I'm really excited, but I don't want to jinx it. But we were told we can't pay 2 people out of the same line, so we're transferring that money to the deputy, so she'll have her own separate pay line. per the auditor. So that'll pay off the rest of this year for my new employee, if all that makes sense.
A motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
And last but not least,
Do I need
Steve?
to stick around for the next one, or no?
Well, don't go too far, yeah.
What's that?
Don't go too far, we got one more to do.
Okay.
Morning, Steve.
Hi, good morning. Coroner's office is asking to move some money from the equipment fund over to autopsy fees. This year, we've had a pretty sharp uptick in the number of autopsies we've performed. Couple that with the increased cost to perform the autopsies. The vendor that we used last year, the group, has changed their business model and no longer traveling to us. So we had to go with a different vendor, and their cost is somewhat more. But we're trying to work where we're managing those costs as well. But we have found that we need to move some money over so we can continue to perform the autopsies as needed.
Does this take you to the end of the year?
I'm hoping it will. There is a possibility that I would have to come back for additional appropriations if I can't find more money to move if I need it. But this is kind of a Band-Aid to see if I can get us through at least a while.
A motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, old business, funding for the Public Defender's Office. You should have a copy of the resolution in front of you. I don't know, was it Steve or Joyce or whoever worked on this committee? You guys want to kind of update the council, please?
As the committee met several times and worked with the Public Defender's Office and their board, we feel that this would be a good program for us to enter into, as we don't want to leave money on the table is what it amounts to. Now, the question remains, if we do it before the end of the year, I'm not sure about how we're going to fund this, because we would have to implement the raises for these people, because Brian and the first deputy, I believe, would get raises. So that's the piece of the puzzle that remains to be figured out.
Do you have that information by chance, Mindy? Is there excess money, or Brian, do you know if there's money to cover raises in your budget if we do it effective this year or next year?
My understanding, we could take it out of the supplemental fund since it's a one-time deal. Now, my understanding is this board approves it, this council approves it today. My board has to submit a comprehensive plan. The state has to approve it at either their September or their December meeting. If they do that, then if we're in compliance as of October 1 for the fourth quarter, then we would get reimbursed for the fourth quarter. Otherwise, we would not get reimbursed. The reimbursement would start until the first quarter of next year.
Which raises the question to me, I thought about this. If we get approved, excuse me, before the end of the year, then do we have to go back and do retro pay? Because then, if we're going to get paid for the last quarter, then that would have meant that we would have...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know if we can do it retro, but it would have to be effective as of October 1st. So the updated salaries would have to be effective October 1st. The caseloads from October 1st through the fourth quarter, we would have to show them, the state, that we've been in compliance for the fourth quarter, and then we would get reimbursed in the first quarter for the fourth quarter.
And do you have money in the supplemental fund? Have you figured what those figures would be? Have you?
I haven't sat down, there is enough money in there to pay it. I haven't sat down and do the exact numbers.
So there'd be enough money for you and the additional person?
So, just so I understand the timeline, you're saying if we approve this essentially today, and then your board has to approve it, as long as they...
My board's already approved it. It goes to the state.
Plan or whatever, and then...
They do a comprehensive plan, which they're working on right now.
Right,
in
then that plan
hopes
goes to the state.
And it'll go to the state.
And as long as they approve it by October 1st, we're good for the fourth
Well,
quarter.
even if they approve it in, I'm told even if they approve it at their December meeting, as long as we're in compliance by October 1st, they
Okay,
would reimburse.
so
for the fourth
regardless,
quarter. Right.
if we decide today, then it goes. So.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple comments on this because this was a pretty big project for a committee to look at. And we looked at a lot of different things. We brought in a lot of people in and around all that had to do with this. And this just appears to be the only reasonable way to do this. I don't know why you got to spend more money to save money, but that appears to be the way it works with the state funding. The judges are behind this. Of course, Brian's behind this. Commissioners looked at it. They were involved. And the governing board for Brian, they're behind this. We tried to do it all different ways. I'm saying this more for the public to understand why we're moving this direction and spending more money, but we tried to do it a bunch of different ways, and it just all came back to this made sense. And Brian tried to tell us that from the start. But we had to prove that he was right, I guess. So that's why we wound up where we are.
Well, I appreciate everything you guys did, and looking into it, working on it, getting a consensus. That's one of the big things that we, as a council, are trying to do, is keep everybody involved in things, let everybody know what's going on, and building a team with everybody, and judges and Brian and you guys, great job. And I know what you're saying, but for us to be able to save some money, and I think it's going to work out this time. I know the county tried this once before years ago, and it didn't work out, but I think it's a good deal now.
Mindy Byers, auditor. I just want to pipe in and say that we have 129,000 sitting, a little over 129,000 sitting in the supplemental fund. And I believe Brian is right. The first year we can, since it's a one-time deal, we can use the supplemental funds to cover that. The only thing we'll want to look at is the 2026 budget and make sure that you budgeted properly for that. I'm going to guess.
I did put in the higher.
You did?
salary.
Okay, then we should be good.
Ever the optimist.
Trying to be. I was told we
No,
can always go
that's
down,
fine,
we can't
that's
go
fine.
back up, so
Understand.
that's,
Any other questions for Brian?
and I'd like to just pass along my appreciation to the board, the council, for all the hard work that you guys have done on this. We started this back in March, and I know it's, as Gary says, it's been a long process and very thorough, and I just appreciate all your hard work. And I think it will be very beneficial for the county, save money and keep us within the caseloads and keep my feet to the fire.
One other comment I might make for the general public. I was involved in this when we started this new office, and wasn't a big fan of it. And then my question was 8 years ago, okay, three attorneys for 3 courts and we're good. And now all of a sudden we can't keep up. And what happened? Because other counties of larger population seem to be doing different things. And one thing that came out of this from the judges, our law enforcement, our parole, or not parole, but our probation offices do a good job, and they round these characters up and get them in here and get them in front of the judge, and that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. And they have to do it multi-times. I don't know for sure I understand that, but they're doing a good job doing what they're supposed to do and get them off the street. So I appreciate that.
We need a motion.
Therefore, I make a motion that we adopt this, and we adopt this resolution.
And I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business, we have Mr. Jeff Thompson with us today, State Representative Jeff Thompson, to kind of discuss the Senate Bill 1, give us an update on that. And I know the council has a lot of questions, so He said he'd be willing to answer some questions. I guess from our perspective, it's just, there's a lot of confusion and concern coming up for the next few years. And, you know, what's the bill going to do, future tweaks, that kind of thing that we need to be aware of for our planning purposes and as well as the general public knowledge.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. And when the time comes, just have those questions come, make them hard. I'm used to that and welcome those. I do a better job explaining when you ask me a question. I think it's important to understand what Senate Bill 1 tries to fix. And a couple of key things in local government finance, I think, that need to be changed, and most everybody agrees with this. Should the local income tax distribution be based upon property tax levies? Is that the right way to govern? Because as I said when I presented the proposed amendment for Senate Bill 1, I would not lower the tax rate if I'm the county council any more than I have to. I keep it as high as I can. Because when you lower the property tax rate, guess what? You also lose lit, don't you? Is that right? Is that the right way to govern? And the second thing is this. Should we have a system in place where when a local unit raises the rate, this is true in Montgomery County and a lot of counties, Hendricks too, where a whole lot of taxpayers don't see a penny of change in their tax bill. But here's what happens when you raise that rate. You take from other units, don't you? Isn't that right? And if you drop your rate, guess what happens? Taxpayers don't see a penny change, do they? But a whole lot of units do what? Gain more dollars. Or is the right way to govern? When you raise the rate, taxpayers are going to pay more. And you lower the rate, taxpayers are going to pay less. Those are the two things that I think fundamentally need to be fixed in local government. And so you can address those with the questions. But to let you know the complexity of where we sit today in property taxes. If a local unit, or local unit statewide, and we say we're going to look at what happens when you go from a 10-cent rate to a 20-cent rate. It takes the computer 2 hours to make that calculation. 2 hours. In the new system we're going to get to, hopefully someday, the answer is easy. You have twice the money. By the way, you go to 5 cents, you have half the money. That's where I think we want to go. And so what Senate Bill 1 also does, it puts those deductions in place, doesn't it? And the 1/3 and the 2/3 aren't just random numbers. Because in 2031, we get to 1/3 and 2/3, don't we? And every single parcel in the state of Indiana hits the cap at exactly a rate of $3. All of them do. And there's no cap loss up to $3. And the first itty-bitty amount above $3, guess what? It's all cap loss, 100%. And then the question becomes, why do you have rates above $3? Because guess what? The well is dry. We have to face the fact, and I have to agree with them, taxpayers, 15 years ago spoke, didn't they? They said, we're going to limit the amount of property taxes. That's what we did. That's what the Constitution says. So no matter what we think about things, the Constitution and the taxpayers have driven where we're at today. And so with that, just as I said, send those questions at me, welcome them. I know one of the key things we did is most of this goes into effect in 2027, doesn't it? We've got 2 sessions in a discussion yesterday, start talking about lit. There have to be some lit modification changes, but I can tell you, I don't like the word never, but I'll have a really tough time going back and distributing local income tax based on levy. So the harder you push your property taxes, the more lit you receive. It's just not the way to govern. And I want to get to that system where at some point, when you raise that rate, you pay more, and you lower that rate, you pay less, and that's the way to govern. So with that, thank you again for having me, and just bring those questions.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I was in a meeting yesterday at the desk school. I learned a lot in an hour, and I'll learn today. So thank you for helping educate me on things I may not understand.
just so you know, I hate property tax with a passion. I hate property tax. It's unfair. One of the biggest things I think is so unfair about property tax is that rental properties are a business. They don't get any relief whatsoever, businesses. I mean, as far as property tax. And who rents homes? The poorest among us. And they pay the highest tax. Nothing fair about that. I think that, and we're in an agricultural county, but farm ground gets by really well compared to other businesses. So all this stuff, in my mind, it needs to go away. Property taxes, there's no fair way to do it. Years ago, I was going to build a pole shed on my property because I wanted a shop. And when I got all done figuring it out, it was going to cost me then about $50,000 to build this shed. And I said, well, I'm going to pay taxes on everything I buy to put that shed up. I'm going to pay taxes on the labor of the people building the building. I'm going to pay road tax to get the stuff in there and get everything done when I get all done. And when I get all done with that building, I'm going to be assessed a higher value and pay taxes the rest of my life. And I chose to take that $50,000 and invest it. And I paid taxes on the increase from the income on that investment, but I've never paid another dime on that $50,000. Those are the things I think that are so antiquated in today's society. I think the state needs to look to raise revenues more on a use or consumption type tax and not on property.
And we've had that discussion. I know the one thing that I think is, somewhat difficult is I philosophically like to see the people that spend the money take the vote to raise the money. And that's the only really concern with what you said that I might have. If the state raises the money and then distributes exactly who gets how much, it becomes a really sticky thing to deal with. That's the only concern. But I understand certain people pay a lot, and I made a lot of property taxes. As some of them may know, I farmed at one point a long time ago. And I learned real quick, you pay a lot of property taxes, don't you? A lot of property taxes.
When it comes to lit, we've worked hard in Montgomery County, and I know other counties have too, and the city has worked hard to bring more business to this county. And I can't speak for what the city's done exactly, but we've raised 1,000 jobs in a TIF district on the east side of Crawfordsville. And all that income tax is going to go away from the county because we don't have enough housing. Now we're into trying to promote more housing and get families to come to Montgomery County. We've got jobs, but we're the best economic development program for the surrounding counties there is because they work here and they leave. And I'm not so sure that that's the way it ought to be. I don't know if that's ever been discussed.
There's been some discussion. There has been. Nothing done, of course, as you know. But fair. Yeah.
Everyone's quiet all of a sudden.
The property tax for farmers in this county is going to go up because of what Boone County decided to do. And they raised the value of farm ground through the roof in the surrounding counties because of they sold and they're going to buy 3-5 acres with what they sold in surrounding counties and other areas, and they put the price of the value of the property through the roof. And local farmers have issues trying to compete because of what the state's done with our tax money
I
in Boone County.
thought that on the farm ground side, there's a formula that sets that rate, and if it's for farm purposes.
No, I'm talking about the tax. I'm talking about buying farm ground.
Oh, buying.
Which
yes,
ultimately is gonna
yes.
help increase the farm
Buying's
revenue.
a different, yes, different discussion.
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree.
formula I think a Philadelphia lawyer can't explain. I don't know why it has to be so complicated.
That's on the table too for discussion.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
Businesses I've been involved in, doesn't make any difference whether you make money or not, you still pay the same tax. I'm not sure that's the way it is with the agriculture sector. But those are age-old problems. I don't understand why the state can't get that handle on that stuff. All the years that they've had the opportunity to do it. I mean, this House bill seems to me like it's a Band-Aid, and it's going to cause us more trouble than help.
I would disagree, I guess respectfully. And it's because when you get to that system where when you raise the rate, you pay more and lower, all of a sudden, local units can drop the rate, and guess what? Taxpayers will save. It's not true today. I mean, if you drop the rate in this county, I know what's going to happen. A whole bunch of places, there won't be a penny change in the bill.
Well,
That's the issue.
Explain to me how that's going to work, because this year Montgomery County needed about a little over $15 million budget, okay? So it had a rate of 4.5 cents? There you go. So if the rate drops, we still needed the 15 million.
Yes, you're right. And at some point, you'll have not a levy system, but a rate cap system. And
Still need $15 million.
yeah, and you'll
Cap
have.
it, you change the rate, you raise the AV, you do whatever you're going to do, but it still takes $15 million.
Right, and at that point, you can raise the rate or you can use lit, because now they're independent and separate. Because right now, they're tied together, aren't they? Really tight. We really tied your hands by current law. I'll grant you that. You're in a box where you have to push your rate as high as you can. That's logical in the current system. In the new system, it won't be that way.
Mayor, you got anything to add to this? You're a big player in the property tax issue.
I'll save my comments. I think the reality is going to be this. We hire professional accountants to run the numbers for us. We know what this scenario looks like over the next few years. Our numbers from the professionals do not match the numbers from legislative services. I'm going with the professionals. And so we're planning appropriately. There's going to be challenges, make no mistake. I think the lit side is going to be especially challenging for us as a city. We're going to have to partner with the county to address that. I think the way this bill is drawn doesn't make sense to me. But the reality is for us, we do a lot of things outside the city on the fire and emergency medical side. Without adoption of those lit changes, that will come to an end, an abrupt end, because we just simply can't afford to do it. Not a bad neighbor, just numbers are numbers, right? So they put us in a tough spot there. But as I always say, we've done a great job in this community with the county and the city, and we're going to continue doing that. We're going to succeed here despite the challenges we're being thrown from Minneapolis.
Thank you, Mayor. And I guess kind of echoing off of that, that's my concern is this is pushing more towards the lit. And as a business owner, a homeowner, yeah, I'm all for lowering my property tax, but my overall tax bill, I do not believe will go down. It'll probably go up, paying more lit, because different entities can now charge lit that couldn't before. And so
In this county as it sits right now, I find her correct, it'd be the city of Crawfordsville and the county. Those are the only two bodies that will control lit. And the potential rate drops to 2.9. It is 3.75 by current law.
Mindy, you got something?
I was just going to let you know that the schools would like to speak if you would allow.
Rex, you got something? Good morning.
Okay. That's
Oh, go ahead.
Things that are going on federally, we have a Department of Government Efficiency, and that's happening at the state level, and I don't quite understand it all. I may have a $15 million budget in my household
honestly, that's our job. We do that every budget cycle. We're getting ready to come into a budget cycle. Right now, we're in the middle of it. We have our budget hearings coming up in a couple weeks, and we bring every department head up here to explain their budget, what it's for, and then we take into account the potential revenue we have, and we make sure we have enough revenue plus a cushion to make sure in case that revenue projection doesn't come in. So, that's our job, is to make sure we stay within budget, within the current revenues with some cushion as well. So we do that.
Well, credit, I haven't quite understood everything that's going on at federal and state level. It's pretty complicated, but it seems to me like there are being cuts made for the taxpayer. It's supposed to be for the taxpayer. I don't think we're supposed to transfer it from one pocketbook to the other. That's just my perception. Any comments on that?
You mean as far as the transfers you saw earlier in the meeting?
What's that?
As far as like the transfers you saw earlier in the meeting, is that what you're asking about, or?
Changing one tax for another.
Right.
Yeah, we're cutting it over here, but we're adding it over there. That seems counterproductive to what the federal plan is or what the state plan is. I'm just curious what you guys think about all of this.
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out right now, is they're telling us we've got to change our taxing system, so that's why we're asking for some guidance from the state, where we've got, like the mayor said, consultants that we're talking to see where we're gonna have to make up some differences, and then we're gonna have to decide in the next couple of years whether we can maintain services or whether we'll have to cut services. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We may not be able to keep everybody or everything, but that's the next, I think as the mayor said, the next few years are gonna be a pretty bumpy ride during budget time. So yeah, those things will definitely be looked at. So, yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna just throw in there for you, sir. One of the things that hasn't been discussed very much is this county offers a property tax relief credit. And we give away about $8 million in credits to our taxpayers, so their bills can be lowered. And this new legislation is removing that. So I think that's something that the general public needs to understand, is that the property tax relief credits that this council votes on and provides to their taxpayers, that has been negated by 2028 by this new legislation.
Well, this discussion could go on for days, honestly, and it has actually already. For the general public, this is very concerning for us. We're trying to figure this out. Like I say, we're talking to our financial advisors and running the numbers and getting the state numbers and things like that. I appreciate Representative Thompson being here to kind of address this for us, just to give us the state level perspective. So if you have any closing comments, or?
No, I think it's, again, those two key questions. Once we solve those two things, the behavior changes. But the current system will have it the same 50 years from now. It won't change. It won't change because if really, fundamentally, what we have a levy system with what kind of constitution? Rate-based. That's the mathematical problem. And as some of you know, I'm a retired chemistry, physics, and math teacher. It's a fundamental math problem. We need to have a rate-based system matched up with a rate-based constitution. And those that understand that know where we're heading towards. And I can tell you right now, the hard step will be, probably won't happen next session, is when you set the summation of the rates at $3. That will be hard. But if we don't try, we're not doing our job. So I'd welcome discussion further at any point. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Thompson. And yeah, I guess you're right. To get from point A to point B is going to take some work and honestly some pain, and that's our concern as the council member. We're the local officials that have to unfortunately inflict that pain at some point. So moving on, request for funding from the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network. Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Johnny Park. I'm the CEO of WIN. I'm here with my colleague Audette Taylor and a few Montgomery County residents here. WIN is a nonprofit organization. It was established about 8 years ago. Our ultimate mission is to accelerate adoption of technologies by local users, primarily farmers and manufacturing companies, but also schools and local businesses as well. There should be a handout to you. I'd like to highlight a few just key figures on this larger sheet. We were very fortunate to be able to work with a company called Teconomy to assess and quantify the impacts that we've made in this region. And according to that study, we were able to make over $138 million worth of economic impact in this region. And on the smaller sheet here, this is specific to Montgomery County. And as of 2024, last year, our direct investment to Montgomery County was over $2.1 million. And that includes $600,000 to 3 school corporations in Montgomery County. As I mentioned, the ultimate mission and all the activities that we do is towards helping farmers and manufacturers adopt emerging technologies, because our thesis is that if we can help them adopt new technologies faster, then it's going to lead to economic growth and regional prosperity. And I've asked a few of the business owners here in Montgomery County to just share their own perspectives of working with WIN. And one of them is Frank Sendry from Lakeside View. And Frank, maybe if you want to just share a few words about your experience of working with WIN, please.
Yeah, happy to do that, Johnny. So, as Johnny said, WIN works on trying to introduce new technologies. So we've worked with some companies trying to evaluate some technology. So we particularly interested in remote sensors. You know, we've got 1.7 million square feet across 2 plants here in Crawfordsville. A lot of our equipment is old and predates some of that technology. So to wire all that technology is very expensive and a big problem. But there's technology today that allows you to do that remotely. We all know about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So we worked on one project with them using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth that was still not very effective inside a plant environment. However, working with WHIN, we came up with they recommended a technology that I personally never heard of before, LoRaWAN. It's a long-range, wide area network. And we've been able to successfully install initially some samples, but we've installed sensors right now primarily for temperature. Our first applications were around the plant locations where we have people, where we're measuring temperature and humidity in order to react to any areas that are extremely hot and humid, so we can take some actions to help our people. We've also been able to put sensors inside of electrical cabinets that are have a problem in heat and humidity when they're old. Anybody in manufacturing knows that electrical problems are a big problem. And then we've done some vibration sensing. This is an advanced technology, predictive maintenance technology that lets you know when something, a bearing particularly, may be getting ready to fail before it actually does. So we're very happy with the partnership we have there. And I would say one of my engineers, he wrote something for me. I'm going to read something that he wrote. He said, WIN offers more of a cutting-edge tech solution than we get from other vendors at a pretty competitive price. They offer insights into what other places around our community are doing, such that we can take their endorsement or caution on some of these technologies. And that really sums it up. So I think it's a great thing that we're doing in this multi-county area to try to drive technology into manufacturing, because we all have competitive challenges. All right, thanks.
Another person that I invited is Jake Church. Jake, you want to just come up? Yeah.
Good morning. It's good to see all you guys this morning. Thank you for the opportunity to come in and share a little bit with you. I gave you guys a sheet that is a little bit about my business. We're a small business up in the northwest corner of Montgomery County. We're in the old Coal Creek School. My wife and I bought this business in 2022 from a now retired gentleman. And we started out building kits for Heister-Yale. They've been building kits for Heister-Yale for 35 plus years, and we like doing the work, but we had some opportunities to continue to grow our business. We have, about a dozen employees. Most of them are Montgomery County residents. A few of them jumped from Fountain County to Montgomery County because that's where they live, but they live about 10 miles down the road from us, pretty much all the way around. We've had some opportunities to grow, thank you to WIN, actually. WIN was introducing technologies to the area, and one of their tech partners, Tech, that is also highlighted there, needed to manufacture this robot. And we had the opportunity to meet them and start working with them, and now we're manufacturing this robot that reduces herbicide by 86% for farmers. Right here in Montgomery County. We're making it right up there at the old Coal Creek School. We've made several of them, and we've made over 120 in the last couple years. We're shipping them out to customers. I just got off a call yesterday with Tech, and we're figuring out taking some of their stuff to the Farm Progress Show. So we're hauling their equipment around and helping them stage stuff and doing all sorts of stuff that small businesses do, right? We just kind of get in there and shoulder all sorts of stuff, and that's the way it is. But I've appreciated that WIN has been kind of connecting those different people and fostering business. As we brought Tech down here, we've used other businesses in this area, whether it was machine shop work, powder coating work, getting some stuff cut over at Indiana Rubber, whatever it was. We were using other businesses in the area. It's nice, from my perspective, it's nice to be able to foster business and then have businesses do more business in the area. I think that's good for our economy and good for everybody. And we're growing. Again, I put a little picture of a drone down the bottom, but my business is actually expanding again, and we're going to start selling, servicing, supporting drones because we saw a need for the area. So for agriculture, we're going to start selling these drones. Our connections with some of the things we're seeing, it just made sense for us to start doing it. And unfortunately, those things are mainly made overseas today, and I have a passion for manufacturing. I hope you guys caught that already, and I'd love to see those made in the USA someday, but that's another chapter for another day. But really love what WIN has done and what they do, and I ask you to consider what they do for the county and encourage you to support this organization.
Just to quickly add onto what Jake said, he mentioned about Tech. So Tech was based in Brazil, and we vetted that company about 6 years ago. And as he mentioned, they developed this robot that can autonomously navigate corn and soybean fields and apply see and spray operations. So instead of broad herbicide application, he's able to just spot spray the weeds autonomously. A very cool technology. So they moved their headquarters to Indiana, which is a great news for us, because we have built this progressive farmer network in our region. Because we're providing this network of very progressive farmers who are incentivized to adopt new technologies. Again, that's what happens when people are more willing to use and adopt new technologies. And not only they moved their headquarters and hired about 100 plus more people in this region, which is great for economic development, Jake's manufacturing company is now manufacturing their robot right here in this region, right? And then I just got a text from another farmer in Montgomery County, Scott Odell, who's a member of WIN, mentioning about how his farm has just incredibly increased the productivity because of using Solix robot, the robot that we mentioned. So it's kind of full circle, right? As we engage farmers and manufacturers, help them use technologies that's going to lead to not only their own operational productivity increase, but it brings a lot more entities to have more physical presence in our region. Again, as I mentioned, as a nonprofit organization, we rely heavily on grants and gifts, including county support. And as we expand what we do, we have been very successful in attracting federal grants and state grants as well. But the local support is really critical because that signals to national funders what we do here locally is being valued and appreciated. So we are very thankful for the partnership with Montgomery County over the years, and we're respectfully requesting $50,000 a year support in the next 3 years so that WIN can continue to make impact in this region and beyond.
Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. I think this is probably a good deal. I'm not sure that's something that the county should be involved in, that maybe other businesses should be involved in. I know the city is not partnering again with you guys. And I don't know how, I just don't know how we can go from 30 to 50,000 when we're going to ask these department heads to cut their budgets. We've been talking 5% cuts to budgets, 10% cuts to budgets. To spend $150,000 when we could be spending it for somebody in Ladoga that needs an ambulance, or somebody in Wingate that needs fire or police protection. I think the need and the unforeseen of where we're going to be, I would have a hard time voting to give $150,000 when we don't know where we're going to be. And like the gentleman said over here, what are we going to cut? We need to cut some things. We need to take care of some things. Brian, we saved money there today. We're going to save money by cutting some budgets. You know, what employees, I mean, look behind you, what employees, department heads do we get rid of if we pay you $150,000? And so I think we need to table this for right now, because I just, coming in right before budget time, I don't think it would be right, because we don't know where we're at and what we're going to need. And, but then to come in wanting 20 more thousand when, you know, it's tough times. So I'll make a motion, we table it for right now.
We have a motion? To table, right? But is there a second? Well, yeah, we've already got a motion, and without a second.
They want us to do a 3-year contract for $50,000 a year. And the city's already declined doing it. And right before budget time, I just don't know how we can do that and ask other people to cut. And then what happens if we come up short before we've done this budget, and we've already got a contract for $150,000 for them? Do we tell the people that we got to cut employees? I mean, that's where I'm at. There's time to cut. Ivy Tech, we're paying it. We've got other places that we've been doing big contracts with, and there comes a time when the businesses and other people out there need to step up instead of coming to the county.
I have a question. I mean, David? I have a question. I don't know that we even need to take action today, do we?
That's what I was just trying to clarify. I mean, any action that we take is only, even though we can say it's a commitment, but it's only for 1 year because we've run on a 1-year budget cycle. We can change the budget any year. So, I mean, it's something we can look at when we finalize our budget, or as to our amount, whether we continue the commitment at the current level or the increased level. But, you know, we're not signing a contract for 3
Okay.
years, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you're good. I'm just not for it at all. I won't vote for it at all.
Can I make a comment? Can you change your motion that we would take this under advisement for the 26 budget? Because we're not going to spend any money today.
Right.
Or for the rest of the year.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we take it, we table it on the 26 budget.
Yeah, we take it under
Under
advisement.
advisement.
For the 26 budget. I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we can move on. I guess a question for you. It looks, is your main focus agriculture, or is there any other technology? I mean, technology is pretty widespread, but.
Well, agriculture and manufacturing are the main focus, but we've been also helping schools to use technologies as well. So so obviously Lakeside Books, he mentioned about all the
yeah.
technologies that his company was able to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom, you have something?
Just to clarify too, the request was for this year as well. So if you want to take it under advisement, at some point you'll have to decide if you want to do an additional appropriation for 2025.
Okay. Any other, I'm sorry, go ahead.
My understanding is that the current funding is $30,000 a year. And again, you know, we understand that budget is tough. And, you know, my request was to make an investment to win, because we have a proven track record of making a bigger impact for the community for the long run. But we understand that with the budget, it's hard at some point. And so we understand that.
Do we have any superintendents here?
Couple, yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say? I mean, could our $30,000 be spent better?
We haven't had the benefit of winning since 3 years ago, and we're grateful for that. We're grateful. I don't know that there's anything on the table for us going forward. Southmont may be in a different perspective, and Dr. Roper's not here today. I'll defer to Dr. Piper.
I believe our experience with Win, which is very positive, was 3 years ago. It helped us expand our IT structure, I believe, and maybe some access to the students. That's all I can share at this point in time. I don't have anything currently in the works.
And like I'm saying, I don't think it's not a bad deal, but I don't think it's a deal that we should be involved in. I think businesses and other partners could be involved in it, because I think ours is going to be needed, just like the school corporations. You know what you're running into right now too, and we've got to cut.
The school corporation paid you guys when they came in and did the work, correct?
No.
So
no.
you offered this free to the schools?
Yeah, we gave grants of $600,000 to 3 corporations in Montgomery County. It was a grant. It's a gift, yeah.
All right.
I call for the question on the motion.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye to table the motion, or table the issue. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time, and we'll certainly take this into
Well,
serious
we
consideration. Oh,
need to
sorry, go
make
ahead.
We need to make a motion whether we do the rest of it this year.
Well, I don't think you had to clarify that. We didn't table it. We said we would take.
Take it under advisement, I'm sorry. Yeah, take it under advisement.
26 budget.
Okay.
And I think that addresses your question about 25.
That just
We'll put it
addresses
in
26.
budget.
Yeah, I mean, without a motion for an additional appropriation, which wasn't on the agenda anyway. So the motion, or the request is for the current funding, so.
They wanted 20 more thousand for this year and then 50,000 for the 2 additional years.
Right. But the additional appropriation, we would have to vote on an additional appropriation at another meeting. So, yeah. if we do that, so we'll take it under advisement. Thank you. Did we vote? Or did I say? Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought everybody said, yeah. Yes, means no. I'm like, oh, gosh. All right, Mindy, our second quarter financial report.
Actually, Jennifer is going to. Yeah, that'd
Okay.
be great. Yeah. Thought you might get tired of hearing these speak, so we split it up a little. Yeah, where? Go back. Sorry. Maybe. There we go. Sorry. No. Dang it. Let's start over here. Which view am I wanting? There we go. Okay. Yeah, we didn't do one in the first quarter. That's kind of because the first quarter is boring. We don't get tax money in the first quarter. The only thing that we get are our miscellaneous revenues. So, you know, we don't really have a whole lot of good news to report on the first quarter. But I can report on the second quarter. We did receive property tax monies. The general fund saw a little over $4 million. CCD, about $500,000. Cume Bridge, $750,000. Health Department, all of the others. The presentation's been sent to you. All of the actual numbers are in the sheets at the back of the presentation. I don't have it in front of me right this minute. So, but we're on track or better. As I say every time, the hash marks indicate what we budgeted for, and the and then the actual colored areas are what we received. The only places of concerns are in the TIF districts. They're coming in lower. We're looking into the business personal property AVs a little bit further to make sure that they're being reported correctly, and we're therefore capturing that correctly. You'll see it come up a time or two. Oh, whoops. I do not like laptops, guys. All right. Moving on to the general fund revenue. Yeah, maybe. Okay, there we go. After 2 quarters, we're a little bit behind on what we were expecting for the excise taxes, the intergovernmental revenue. Those are grants and reimbursements. Sometimes those don't happen the first 2 quarters of the year. We'll get our grant reimbursements later on after people have submitted requests for reimbursements. Charges for service is a little bit under the halfway mark as well. One thing that we're way above expectations on, and that is miscellaneous revenue. And that is because the interest that we're receiving on our monies on deposit is, again, high this year. Not as high as last year, but we're still getting some good interest. Whoops. Let's try this. All right, and
Then financial institution tax, commercial vehicle excise tax, license permits. Those are all a little bit under the halfway point as well. I know you're probably thinking, but wait, didn't we adjust the excise tax? Yes, we did adjust the excise tax last year, but we don't see that we're always, what, 3 months behind on our receipts from the state on our new rates. So the whole first quarter, we were getting the prior year rate collections, and we just started in second quarter getting our updated collections that we made the changes last year. So that'll catch up some, probably won't hit the 100% mark this year. All right, and then the gas tax and wheel tax revenue. Wheel tax, we're doing a little bit better than the excise. Gas tax, we're a little bit above what we estimated. But again, that's the way we want to be. We estimate low on purpose, because why count on something that we don't know we're going to get? The same is true on the gas tax for local road and street. And income tax, yeah. I just need a mouse, people. Okay. Oh, is there one? That's not true. Okay. No, it doesn't work, Tom. All right. Anyway, yeah, because every time I touch this, it jumps 3 feet. But yeah. So we'll go to income tax. Income tax, we're gonna receive what they said we were gonna receive. But we always, again, estimate low. One of the reasons that we're way above the halfway point at this time is that we receive in May of every year, we receive a supplemental distribution from the state for our income taxes. This is money that's been on deposit there. They changed the law recently where they have to distribute more of it to us on a regular basis than they used to. They distribute it to us, they keep a lower percentage in their accounts. So we get to use it. And we have been. Going over on in here to expenditures. My goodness gracious. Okay. There's our number for county general fund expenditures. Our budget is just a little bit over 15 million, and so far we have spent just under 8 million. So we're pretty much on track. We have some expenditures that come out of there, contractual payments that we make at the beginning of the year. It will probably slow down towards the end of the year, we hope anyway. Although I know there are some projects brewing that may require more additional appropriations. The expenditures in the RDC General Temper Fund, the Cume Bridge Fund, the CCD Fund, those are all well below halfway. Public Safety Lit, I don't know if I'll be able to display that or not, but it's a little under half. And EMS, we're above our budget because we've made both of our payments to the city for EMS services already this year, and you guys approved the additional appropriations for the training class costs that we had to pay that weren't in the original budget. The hash marks represent the original budget, not all of the additionals that happen over the course of the year. Okay, and then we have health, PSAP lit, and reassessment. Again, the expenditures are right about the halfway point at this point in the year, which is where we want them to be after 2 quarters. MVH restricted, and the combination of the two are represented here. MVH unrestricted, we're at a little less than halfway. MVH restricted, we're above halfway, which again, we want to spend our restricted money first because, it's restricted. We can only spend it on a few things. So we got a good ways to go with the year, but we're doing well in the MVH expenditures. These are the fund balances. The blue is where we started the year. The orange is the end of the first quarter, and then the gray is the end of the second quarter. And you'll see big jumps for those that are paid by the levies, of course, because we get our first round of tax money in June. So we're doing pretty well. We're sitting okay on cash balances on these funds. The one that we do have a concern about is the RDC General Temper Fund. That's money that's fed from the TIF, but we also then take the money from the TIF and use it to pay all of the bonds that we have on the Temper bonds. So that's getting a little bit more analysis by Jeff and Sherri, and I think there's a whole squad kind of looking into that to figure out assessment questions that they have. And then here we are with budgets versus expenditures. Good Lord. There. The original budget is in the green. Any adjustments we've made to the budgets over the course of the year are in blue, and then the year-to-date expenditures are in yellow. So as you can see, for most of them, we're well within range of being on track for the year. So that's good news, all pretty much good news. So far, so good. That's this year. I don't know what's going to happen next year. And then at the end of the presentation that Mindy sent you are there all of the actual numbers for the graphs. So that's all I have.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
And then Mindy's going to present us with our initial budget estimates.
I like Jen to present because she's way more animated than I am. We're going to do this a couple different ways. And I'm going to start by asking that we not get too excited about some of the things you're going to see, because we have not yet submitted our AVs for certification. That was due August 1st. Last budget map we got from the state, not a single county had submitted yet. So there's a lot of it's a lot of work for the vendors that are doing some things, and the state is still looking at some stuff. But basically, we're waiting right now. We're almost done. We are waiting on the city's vendor for TIF neutralization. We have our vendor's TIF neutralization done, and we just heard last night that we should hear from the city within a few days, and then we'll be able to put those neutralizations in, get those approved, and then get it submitted to state. So we're super close.
Hey, Mindy?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question before you get into that?
Yeah.
On fund balances, because I don't think you're going to cover that today, are you? You sent out a...
No, not really. I'm a little...
Okay, question. We've got a lot of funds in there that have no activity, that have balances.
Uh-huh.
I saw one on the country club, something. What can we do to clean those up? I know those are restricted funds, but...
When you say clean them up, do you mean use the money?
Yes. I mean, there's funds that just, small balances just sitting there, and we can't do anything with them.
Yeah, if they're restricted, I mean, that's where the money's going to stay. I mean, we can...
Court action?
I didn't hear what he said.
Gary said it takes court action to...
Well, there's a process we did several years ago for dormant funds. There is a way to move dormant funds from your, those funds to your general fund. But again, there are some funds that are restricted funds and they are non-reverting. And so there are some funds you can't touch and there are some that you could call dormant and move over.
Yeah.
So we'd have to do analysis there. We did that, maybe about 10 years ago, we did that, and we went through and cleaned up some, but it is not, some you can deal with, and some, they just have to sit there. They don't, especially funds that really aren't ours, and there are a lot of them. There was really not ours. We are a conduit of money, but if they are funds that were designed for a specific purpose, and that purpose no longer exists, that's what a dormant fund is.
Okay.
And so that country club project may be one that we might be able to declare dormant. You would declare it dormant, and then we would be able to move it. But so that may be something we want to look at as you go through the budget and try to identify. But there are hundreds of funds, as you know, when you look at those, and so every once in a while, it's good to take a look at them.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
So do you think some of them might just be forgotten, that they don't even know they have?
No, I don't think that. I mean, we went through the process, as I said, about 10 years ago. What we found was there was, most of them we couldn't do anything about. They were money that we had to send to the state, or money that we had to distribute to someone else, money that could be distributed only under certain circumstances. So there are just a lot of those. Some grant funds where there was just a little bit of excess money, but we can't, those are restricted funds. So, but we did find what I would call project-oriented funds, and if the project was completed and no longer exists, those are some of the funds we can declare dormant and move. There's a process, the state provides a process for that, and I would recommend the council look at that every year, at the end of every year, take a, have a look at that and see, work with the auditor and see if there are any funds that could be declared dormant. But I think, I know Phil Bain raised this several years ago, and he was, it was an educational process to learn all of the restrictions on all of the funds. But every year there are probably 30 new funds created, most of which are grant funds and most of which can only be used for certain purposes. As Adrian talked about earlier, sometimes you can only use it for certain things, and to get it, it has to be returned to the grantor if you don't use it, or it has to be used for that reason. So when you take a look at it, it looks like, oh my, we've got all this money, what are we doing? But I would just caution you, it's not quite that simple, but it's worth a review, and then it's worth taking the action you can take. But you have to look at it, so I'm glad somebody's looking at it, Steve, but we should maybe have a couple of people work on that.
Okay, so again, I'm just going to caution you to remember two things. One, we do not know what our certified net AVs are going to be. It was passed to us at like 4 billion. Sherry's not in here, so I'll just look at you. It was passed to us at like, 4.1 billion. And after the changes in legislation, we're already down $1 billion. So, and like I said, we're still waiting on our TIF neutralizations to see where that's going to shake out. So we are always very cautious. The other thing I want you guys to remember is that these are for advertising purposes. Whatever we advertise, we cannot go above that. So we want to, because we have no idea where our CNAVs are going to land, we are padding this quite heavily. But again, it's for advertising only. We will know our CNAVs shortly. We could probably discuss this again in a little bit more detail at one of our budget hearings. I would suggest that. We look at these numbers again after that. I will send them to you as soon as we have them in this spreadsheet that's been updated. But right now, just keep in mind, we are being very cautious. So I'm going to start at the Gateway application just to show you our total budget that we are requesting, all funds, all things, is 48 million. Because we're just going to concentrate on the major funds today, the levied and major funds today. So I'm going to skip you over to this. This is an analysis spreadsheet that the state gives us that we can fill out, pardon me, that's a little easier to look at than flipping through the Gateway application. And I'm going to go in detail on county general, and then the rest of the funds just kind of fall in line, and then we'll talk about that. Pardon me, hang on a sec. So county general, well, let me back up. The max levy that we're going to get is $12,965,147, and that's at the top here if you're looking in column C. The net AV that we are basing all of this on is $3 billion. Again, that is after the new deductions and stuff from the state, and that is a guesstimate at this time, okay? The property tax cap impact. So the cap, the circuit breakers or the cap limits that we used to, it's a loss to the county. It used to be at like 400 and some thousand. It's now at 900,000. So it doubled. It more than doubled. Okay, sorry. And so this is representing that loss, the circuit breaker loss in this area. So this for county general, it's 556,000. Our budget estimates on line 7, this is what has been requested from all the department heads for county general, and that's $18,677,434. The July through December of 2025 expenditures, and this is assuming that we spend all of our appropriations, is $7.6 million. And the additional appropriations that we know about, and we've padded this a little bit for future, because this is, again, through the end of the year, for county general expenditures, we put that at $500,000. And the reason that's a little bit higher than what you'd expect is we're counting the jail roof in that number. So if we need to move that, or were you paying out of that for county general, or were you going to put that in lit?
I think lit was the original.
Okay. All right. Well, it's whatever they want to do. Okay. Well, we put it in county general because that's like worst case scenario, right? So the total funds required through the end of 26 would be $26,822,433. And then we need to look at the receipts that we have, the cash on hand, and the receipts that we expect to get. So cash balance as of June 30th in county general was $11.4 million. The December tax settlement was $3.3 million, $3.4 million almost. Miscellaneous revenues that we expect through the end of the year is another $3.6 million. And then the revenues that we expect for next year, $7.3 million. So that is a total of $25.7 million. And the difference between the revenues that the cash balance and revenues that we have versus the expenditures, there's a difference of $1.5 million. There's a couple ways to do it. We like to look at the budgets. We like to figure the tax rates by how we want to end the following year. So we are saying we would like an operating balance of $11 million at the end of 2026. Just to give you an idea, we ended 2025 at $10.1 million. So that is an increase in what we would like to do. Obviously, that's semi-far-fetched. So this is where we can play with that number, but this is, again, super conservative and super hopeful. So the amount that we would need to raise for county general in that levy would be $12.5 million, with the tax rate in county general of 0.4147. And
Is that the same rate we have this year?
no, 4147. This is just the county general rate. Yeah, the overall rate based on the spreadsheet is 6,787. So quite an increase. The So that's how you read this anyway. Wanted to walk through in detail with County General so you can kind of get an understanding. I don't want to go through all of the funds. Yeah. Oh, yep, that's where I was going. So County General, if you look at all of the, sorry, I knew that I would get. There we go. If you look at the levy, line 25, for all of the funds, and add that up, let me get it pulled over and make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, okay. If you look at the levy that we would need to have to cover the balance or the funds in the levy, we would need $19.2 million, but we know we're only going to get the 12.965. So that is a deficit of 6.289 million. So a shortfall of $6 million from what we've asked for, what we hope to end in next year with, and what we know we're going to get. Again, this is based on an undetermined CNAV, and we shot pretty high. Like, we've been doing really well in County General. Under no circumstances do I think we're going to end next year with $11 million. But because, I mean, $1 million more than what we have been getting, but because we want to advertise high, that's the reason we put that in. These are things we can play with after we advertise. But this is where we felt comfortable right now presenting. Keep in mind, we have a $2 million buffer in your budget. Again, I don't anticipate that 11 million. I don't think that that's where what we'll put at the end of this process. And but the green line is where we can play as far as what we need to do, because we want to have, because these are paid with property taxes, you want to have at least 6 months of requested budget on hand in cash. You want to be able to cover 6 months at a time at the very minimum. You can look at things on this, the Cume Bridge. We're sitting right now at 7.5 cents. We do this every year. It's a little game we play. We have 300, if we did the 7.5 cents, did the full budget, spent all the monies, we still have $308,000 above and beyond what is necessary to cover that and end with a $2.7 million operating balance at the end of next year. So that is something you could discuss with the commissioners. Again, this is a little game that gets played every year with that rate. I shouldn't call it a game, but it's a little back and forth. So that rate will, if we lower that rate, that allows us to have a little bit more into things like County General. But overall, the levied funds look pretty good. I'm not that concerned with that $6 million deficit at this point, knowing what we have in the budget.
Mindy, can you talk about two things? One is your AV assumption for purposes of this calculation. What number did you use, and is it higher or lower than last?
Okay. We were rolled AV of 4 billion, 4.1 billion. After the deductions, we came up with 3 point some billion, and we took 98% of that. We never base it off of the full amount. And that, again, covers us for appeals, adjustments, people who don't pay taxes, that
And
kind
then
of
you alluded to this, but then later in the process, you'll get a certified AV, net AV later, which then we can plug into that equation, right?
Correct, yeah. We should have that, what is today, Tuesday? I'm hoping to have that yet this week, but as soon as I get that, I will, or we will probably update this spreadsheet with the corrected AV, and I'll send it out to you guys. That's the reason I wanted to make sure you understood how to read this, because the actual numbers will be coming very shortly. But we always do go at 98% of your AV, and that's suggested by the DLGF. So
Could you talk to the council just a little bit about the assumptions you make on the collection side? Because I know that we don't use 100% there either, that would not be a good practice. Can you just talk to the council about that?
Yeah. So Jennifer kind of alluded to this in the quarterly report. Our estimates for revenues are never at max. We go through, we literally print out everything we've collected. We take out anything that's a one-time deal, a reimbursement or a refund, or, we wrecked a car and got our money back. We don't include anything like that because it's a one-time thing. It's not real revenue. The other thing we do is we don't assume interest in the way that you might. I mean, you have no idea what you're going to get. We have no idea when another COVID is going to hit. God help us. We have no idea when a SB1 is going to hit. So we never assume full revenues. We usually go about 85%. We take what is real, meaning no refunds, no reimbursements. We add that up, and then we take about an 85% hit on that. And that's what we adjust that's how we estimate our revenues. It's usually anywhere between 80 and 90%, but lately we've been hitting about 85%. So it is lower than what I know some of you would like us to look at, but we would always love to have our revenues higher than expected. And not end up lower than expected. What happened, and the reason we started doing this was about 12 years ago. County General started the year with $0, and there needed to be a lot of adjustments made. And one of the ways that we got to a $10 million cash balance was not assuming full revenues. So that is how we move with that. Does that?
Yeah. For me, I'm good with how you approach it as long as I understand the assumptions.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that.
Okay. Yeah, and we're happy to share the detail behind where we come up with these numbers. You're welcome to come to our office and we can show you how we do this every year. Honestly, we've gotten it to pretty good little system going. We've been pretty spot on. The only places that we've, you just never know with the interest, and you never know with COVID and other things. But the fact that we've been able to do that and bring it from, a zero cash balance to a $10 million cash balance, it's going to help us through things like SB1. So we've talked about the levied funds. I want to look at the major funds. And the reason I want to look at these, it's the same kind of thing. We feel really comfortable about most of our funds. Where we have some discomfort or concern, and Sherri is aware of this, Sherri Hill with CCC, our dispatch center, we have to figure something out. If you look, again, keeping in mind that we want to have about half of the budget, or half, we want to have a cash balance that'll cover 6 months. We are nowhere near that for statewide 911 or PSAP lit. That has to be addressed. We have to figure out a way to fund this moving forward, because it continues to be a struggle for that department to get the funding that they're going to continue to need, especially with the way it's set up right now. So that's a concern. Local road and street also looks concerning, but it's not, because they haven't spent a penny this year out of that fund. So it will, okay. This projection is assuming every penny will be spent out of their current budget. Are you spending the whole shebang? Okay. All right. Well, then we may have a little bit of concern with local road and street. But right now, my biggest concern, and like I said, we've talked about this with Sherri, Jen and I, is the funding for the dispatch center and the redevelopment temper fund. Again, there is, I think Jen called it a squad of people kind of looking at that one. So hold tight on that one till we have some more data. That's really
on that temper. Is that the amount they pay, or it's not being paid, or they're behind, or where are we at? I mean, when you're talking about a little problem there and they're looking into it, I guess I'm just kind of curious how come we're in the position we're in on that.
I will say that what was expected in business personal property, what the taxes
for the collection
being brought in for the collection
okay.
for business personal property are lower than
projected.
What was discussed
okay.
or projected
okay.
during abatement.
Okay, that helps me out there. Go ahead.
But just so there's no misunderstanding, when that project was done, I think it's just a slower ramp up than we might have originally projected, which means that the tax revenues on personal property are lower. However, when that project was done, Temper signed a taxpayer agreement where they agreed that if their tax collections were short, that they would cover the difference, because we have bond payments we're making on that.
Yeah.
So although the numbers are shown are completely accurate, I wouldn't want anyone to think that Temper has not met their obligations. They are meeting their obligations. The ramp up is just slower than was originally estimated.
Okay. And that happens, I know, on a lot of things, and it's like the Coon Bridge, and Jake will tell you, the Coon Bridge looks like it's healthy, and it looks like it's a big fat cow, but the projects cost a lot to do those, and if you've got a lot of projects, it doesn't take too many to knock that money out, too. So there's been times that the commissioners have cut that down, and then you don't have the money to cover it. So you can go both ways, is what I'm saying.
I will say that the overage that we show in Coon Bridge assumes every penny is spent that they've budgeted, so. So that is, if you don't have any questions on that, Steve wanted a quick kind of overview, wanted me to share a quick overview. This is something that I sent you guys. It's just a budget flow chart for how we do things. So we enter the data for the current financial worksheet, the debt worksheet, the Form 1s, which the department heads, that's their budgets, and then we do our estimates of miscellaneous revenue, and that all feeds into what's called a Form 4B, and that Form 4B is where we play around with everything to see what our tax rates are going to be, what the overall, what the budget looks like overall, and that's where we can make some adjustments, like I said, on our estimates and on our, if we want to look at, not ending the year at $11 million, if we need to bring that down a little bit. But this is where we can play with all of those calculations, and then when we're done with that, that is when we feel comfortable with all the requests that have been made, and we end the budget hearings, and we come up with what we're gonna submit to the state. We have the Form 3, which is the notice to the taxpayers, so that's our publication of our budget, and then the Form 4, which is the ordinance or to accept that budget. So, just kind of wanted to give you an overview on how that all works.
And we talked about, a format that you're going to provide numbers for us when budget time.
Yes, we are starting to work on the budget books
Yeah.
as soon as this meeting's over.
Yeah, but we talked about providing a format that helped us understand. Tom and you and I got together back when.
We're
and
going,
You suggested something, and I thought that was a good idea, so.
Tom did or I did? Tom or I did?
The three of us got together. and
yeah.
You suggested it.
Yeah, we're gonna try and mirror, and we did this a little bit last year. We're gonna try and mirror what you're used to seeing from Jeff Peters' numbers. So you're not looking at it two different ways. We'll have Jeff's projections as well as our projections kind of side by side. That's our hope, and to use more of the same language that Jeff uses in our presentation. So it's not as difficult to follow. I think that's what we talked about.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And criminal justice comparisons, how we coming on that?
We have,
I started working on it yesterday, breaking it out. I'm going back to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So 2022 through 26 requested budget. is
Yeah.
what I'm putting together.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And we had some other stuff going on.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been patient, so.
She'll probably, just a heads up, she's off next week, so she'll probably work on the public safety portion of it, and I'll be working on the budget piece, or the budget book piece. But that'll be right up until budget hearings, so it takes a while to put all that together. Unfortunately, it's not just an easy report. We have to create a lot of,
Right.
that, but that's where we are right now.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Got a lot to look at, a lot to think about in the next few weeks. Next item, the local unit budget tax cap warning levy recommendation. This is something that we do every year. We just need to have a resolution, or is it no, just a motion that the auditor send the letter to the units notifying of those, the budget tax cap warnings and levy recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions about that? This is, like I said, is just a formality we do every year. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then next up, we just passed down, these are copies of the tax abatement compliance resolutions for the four abatements listed. This just states that they're all in compliance and for 2025 into 26. And so we just need a motion to accept that, correct? Or vote on the resolution.
Yeah, each resolution, you're required to make a finding after reviewing the CF1s that have been submitted by the taxpayers, that they are in substantial compliance, and that, I think that data shows that. So you have Resolution 2025-5, which is a finding of compliance for Steel Technologies. That's your first resolution, and you'll need to approve these resolutions one by one.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
For Steel Technologies?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're clear. We have a motion for the 2025-5 resolution for Steel Technologies. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then 2025-6 for Crawfordsville 5 solar array resolution. They're in compliance. Entertain. Got a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Resolution 2025-7, the Darlington Solar Array Resolution. They are in compliance.
Move to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And the IMPA resolution, again, same thing, they are in compliance. Have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Finally, staff and funded, or staff and elected officials, any funded organizations have anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Probably need a little help with it, trying to navigate and trying to save money at the same time, and I know you guys are too. And my question is always, how does it benefit the taxpayer when I'm looking at things? And I'm sure that's what all of our elected officials are trying to do. I have a fund called the Clerks Perpetuation Fund that we have talked about multiple times. I was made aware in June at the clerks conference that I can invest that fund, and it's a pretty healthy fund right now. Talked with the treasurer, and as we already know, she's done a fantastic job investing for the county already, and I would love to give her an opportunity to invest that money so that fund can continue to support my department, and I find some ways to maybe take some of the burden off the general fund and using some of that perpetuation fund, especially if we can invest it. It seems like a no-brainer to me. For some reason, I've hit a cog in the government wheel, and I don't think I need any approval, but maybe if you can help us navigate through that system, I would definitely appreciate that, and maybe it'll help the budget from our office in the long run.
Is that something we need to have you look into, Dan, or do you know anything about it, or?
You're already looking into it.
Okay.
Yes, we'll advise the clerk.
No, I think it's a great idea. Anytime we can get money like that, I think it's perfect. And she is doing a really good job on interest. You know, if you're going to borrow money now, you're not liking the interest rate. But if you've got money and you're getting the income off of it, it's big right now.
Well, just to clarify, the question isn't whether the money can be invested, it's where the interest is allocated, whether it goes back to that fund or goes to the general fund. That's the issue.
And I did send an email from the State Board of Accounts that indicated it does, if it's invested from the Clerk's Perpetuation Fund, it goes straight back to the Clerk's Perpetuation, and that came from our county council's plan, I think, that Jennifer sent over. I can provide you with that Indiana code.
You've provided it. I have it. It contradicts what the State Board of Accounts said 2 years ago. We're going to look at the actual statutes because every statute in the statute on a clerk's perpetuation says where the interest goes. We'll find the legal answer.
I appreciate it.
And we just want to make sure, because when we have our audits, like we just did, they're going to track that. So the statute, the law will say where that interest goes, but just, it's not whether the money can be interested.
Where it goes.
It's where the interest goes, and each statute that creates a fund designates that. If it doesn't say it comes back to that fund, it goes to the general fund. That's what the law says.
Right.
So it's a legal question. We'll help it out. I don't.
Well, regardless, I guess it helps the county out at the end of the day, and we're all on board for doing that. If it can help my fund out and help my office.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. We just want to make sure we do it right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we do not, I'll just say this, but we do not, if I get an email from the State Board of Accounts and it says this is what I think, I do not rely upon that. Not that I don't appreciate it. Now, let me explain. Not that I don't appreciate it, it's just that, as our auditor can tell you, they told us one thing last year and a completely different thing this year. So we look up the law, because they are not the law. And they tell us different things, so we're going to corroborate the information or say it's not accurate. We'll tell you what it is, and then you'll have your answer. But if you say to me, I have an email from the State Board of Accounts, I just want to tell you how little that means to me, because 2 years ago they said the RDA did not need their own internal controls because they're an agency of government. The next year they came in and said, oh no, we've changed that. Well, did you tell us? No, you didn't tell us.
I appreciate it. I just, from a business owner, the quicker we get it, the quicker we get the money back, and I would appreciate any help in expediting it. Thank you.
We'll take a look at it. Thank you. Oh, I think Andrea's up. Andrea beach to it.
Traffic signals here. Andrea Geigel, Chief Probation Officer. Just letting you know that we are looking into joining the TREX program. It's the Tax Refund Exchange and Compliance System. The Association of Indiana Counties is the one that fought for that, and it came into existence in 2017 per statute. The Treasurer's Office currently utilizes the program. An MOU is on with the state from that existence. So now we just simply become a sub-account with them. The judges have approved this request. It's on the commissioner's agenda for this next go-round, and it's so simply letting you know that we're doing that. Love to answer any questions about it, presenting on it at JRAC today. That's it.
Okay. All right, Brian. Green light.
Sorry to come back up, I just wanted to clarify one issue. Because I haven't seen the resolution, did the council, do they want us to be compliant by October 1st?
I guess that was the goal, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's fine, I mean,
That was the understanding.
Because personally, I can't be here at your meeting next month in September. I'm going to be out of state that time, and we'll have to, I can get with Mindy, but we'll have to transfer that money. So it's just, I won't be here to be able to explain that. I want to make sure everybody, if anybody had any questions right now, I'd try and answer them, but I just wanted to bring that up. So
Yeah, I think to understand if you can do it in the fourth quarter, that's fine. So,
I'm sorry?
if you can do it in the fourth quarter, which is October 1st, so.
Right, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
roughly with what we're projecting, that would be we'd get back potentially between $25,000 and $50,000
Right.
for each quarter.
Yep.
Sooner we can do it, the better.
That was our understanding, I believe, unless I'm misspeaking. Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody
David?
else? Any other elected officials? Oh, Mindy hadn't done talking yet.
I know. Sorry, I know you're tired of hearing from me. I just wanted to kind of follow up with what Dan said. The state examiners are finally gone. We had the exit interview this week. That's about all I can say on that. But I just wanted to thank all the department heads that helped out with that. And I especially want to thank my team, because having someone in your office for 2 months looking at every single thing you're doing and pulling multiple documents, that is quite a chore in addition to what we already do. So our team, as always, knocked it out, and they finished pretty early this year, and that's really all I can say right now.
All right, thank you. Start down there, Brett. What you got?
All right, first of all, I want to thank Jeff Thompson for coming in and talking with us, and if anybody else has any questions for him, or if you need to email him, he's been great to work with, so thank you very much, appreciate it. I did talk to the city the other day, talked to the mayor, and they're shooting for a 2%, this is FYI, a 2% raise, and they've already started making some cuts on some of the budgets that we talked about doing maybe a 5%, whatever, 10% cut in some of the budgets, not on salary, because I think we've got the salary where it needs to be, but there might be some fat we could trim. That's just my idea. And then also, I want everybody to know that's interested, Newcore Road, there's going to be a meeting here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Isn't that correct, Tom? Yep. And for that overpass over 136. So there's been a lot of interest and questions on that. So I want everybody to know that's going to be tomorrow night. So, and then again, thank you guys for doing the job with Brian and that. I think that's going to be a big savings for us. Thank you guys, and thank you.
Matt?
I can't compete.
Huh?
I can't talk to you.
Yeah, I'd just also like to thank Representative Thompson for being here, and all the department heads for what they do, everyone. Also, when we were talking, you had mentioned you had some school people here that wanted to talk, but I don't know that we ever gave them a chance. So
I'll give him a
still
chance.
here. I don't know if he wanted to say
Rex is
anything
being
or
quiet back there, but you got anything you want to?
not.
All right.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
I know that as superintendent, I should never pass up the opportunity to sell Carpenter schools are wonderful. Appreciate all your help. Do appreciate it every time I bring.
Thought you didn't want to speak.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, again, thanks, Jeff. You've always been a good team player with our community. You show up to legislative breakfasts, and you're always there, so thank you.
Gary?
I too thank you for coming.
Joyce?
Thank you for coming. And then Leah, I was going to let them know on Tuesdays, is it the second Tuesday of the month that we do table talk? The Soil and Water does table talk at the Tablespoon. And
a new project we're kind of doing, or event where I'll try.
All right, thank you. And again, thank you, Jeff, for being here. Appreciate everybody's time for sitting through a longer meeting than normal, but we had a lot of good participation. It was good to see some members of the public here quite a bit. Thank you, Rex, for inviting us to your meeting, informational meeting a while back. That was very helpful as well, that kind of collaboration between all of the entities are what's going to get us through this next few years, I believe. So thank you for that. I did fail to recognize at the start of the meeting, I just want to let everybody know Lori Dossett's sister has passed away. So keep her family in your prayers. And then a longtime employee, Susie Conrad, also passed away, a former dispatcher and worked in the courts, I believe. So just keep those families in your thoughts and prayers. I'm sorry I didn't announce that at the start, but we do have 3 claims that need approved. As always, Mr. Taylor would like paid, as well as Mr. Peters and the Wagner, Irwin, and Shield. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Again, our next regular meeting is September 9th, 9 a.m. right here. We do have 2 special meetings for the budget hearings, August 25th at 4 p.m. and 25th at 4 p.m. and 26th at 4 p.m. Sorry, I was sitting too close to my computer. I couldn't see it. And with that, I appreciate everybody's time on this long meeting, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.